Now, I was talking about why we didn't stock the pure savannah or the pure boa. The reason is we needed to learn. In this project, there is a lot of learning, and I really wanted us to go step by step. We learn as we do the work. We learn as we do the work, because learning theory and without practicing doesn't make sense. We wanted hands-on as we also getting into something. So we decided to stock up the 80%, the 85% savannah back to mate with our local Mubende goats, so that we can get improved breeds. So now those breeds, as time goes on, we shall have to go into a pure breed, because we shall be when we have learned how to manage them, how to feed them, how to, like, the learning phase is kind of high, is wide, and we wanted to learn this. As we continue to carry out the work. So those of you who are watching us and who are following us for the first time, if you have any question to put around, please go into our comment section and we shall get back to you. So we are looking at the breeding. You have to make sure when you're having the local females, cross them with a good back or improved back or a hybrid, so that you can get better results. Now those results, you keep on crossing them and giving them a good back, you'll definitely reach there. You'll definitely reach to the pure breed. And the good thing with these good breeds, first of all, they grow very fast. They're not like our pure local goats. So when you improve the hybrid with the local one, you get better breeds, and you keep maintaining the phase like that. So that will help you reach up to your goal. And another thing, another pillar is management. In management, this is where we find housing, spraying schedules, vaccination schedules, deworming schedules, workers. How do you manage your workers? First of all, if I'm to go into if I go any further as regards to the goats, how do you as a person manage your workers? First of all, these are people we contract to look after our projects. So we have to train them with the skills that are required to look after your goats. First of all, my worker, I train him that he has the necessary knowledge to know that this goat is sick, this goat hasn't eaten, it's diureting, this is how it's progressing. If it has been vaccinated or if it has been dewormed, how is it progressing? So those are the skills you have to really make sure that you equip your workers with the skills. They have to have those skills to manage for you your goats in your absence. These are the guys on the ground managing your millions and dollars of money. So it's good to manage manage the workers by giving them the necessary skills and knowledge needed to carry out the project. Now, in this management, this is where we also look at housing. Now for me, I'll speak on behalf of Rakay Farms. Now for that, we have gotten information from our mentors. Our mentors have already equipped us with all the necessary information that is needed for us to do what? To start. So I decided to put up a ground house for the goats. And in the ground house, the measures you're supposed to take, hygiene. You have to be, your farm has to be like clean all the time, because it's a ground house, and then you have to maintain hygiene so that your goats do not fall sick often. And then also another thing, in management, you have to look at vaccination schedules. When do you vaccinate your animals? Animals are supposed to be vaccinated against clostridials in Uganda almost every year. Now, when do you vaccinate? We are supposed to vaccinate our animals when they're pregnant. Actually, when you're mother. So when they're born, they're actually born strong animals. They become kind of less resistant to diseases. Not that every disease is weakness, because Clostridia is a combination of all diseases. So not that every disease will hit your kid down, or it will almost like get it to death? No. So it is very good to vaccinate. That's why we need to have vaccination schedules. We also need to know when we are to deworm. When do you often deworm your animals? Actually, our kids at our farm, we deworm them after every 2 weeks. We are deworming them. We want to avoid these things. We see that death in the kids. We want to avoid you want to avoid stunted growth, because if you do not really deworm your animals and they face stunted growth and are affected with stunted growth, it means that you'll progress at a low rate, because the animals you expect to grow very fast, because the kids are the profits of the farm. These are our profits. The kids are the profits of the farm. So we have to make sure we deworm our kids after every 2 weeks to ensure that they grow very fast. They do not suffer like from diarrhea, because diarrhea hits kids badly. So you have to make sure you deworm them after every 2 weeks. That is our schedule at our farm. What is yours? So you also have to make sure that you keep your worker, train your worker, like with first aid signs. He has to know what to apply when the goat is sick. He has to identify the sick goat. He has to tell which goat is not doing well. He has to tell the signs and symptoms, and you also have to make sure that you give him the first aid, the medicine. Like if you observe this sickness in the animal, this is the medicine you have to give, because you have to understand the sicknesses in your area. So this will help you like run up your farm successfully. Then also another thing that we have to look at, if you're doing, we also going here in the management where we're also going to see the what, how do we manage inbreeding in the animals. How do you manage a father mating with a daughter and a daughter mating and a brother mating with a sister? So you have to make sure you also manage this in your farm for you to have to have a successful farm. So when you manage this inbreeding, it means you'll have quality breeds at your farm. You have to identify this very fast and know how you can manage them. This will help you grow up your farm. Then also another factor you have to look at under management is that you have to look at which kind of grazing are you going into. Are you going into zero grazing? Are you going into semi-intensive, or you're going into free range? So this will depend on the availability of your land. So for us, we do zero grazing because our land is small. So those of you who are doing semi-intensive, it means that you also have to see the area of your land, because if you're doing semi-intensive from a swamp, it means that the worms will be recurring, because worms accumulate more in wet areas. So you have to make sure that you deworm your animals. You have to look at your schedule very well. Yes. Then also another thing, that another pillar for a successful goats farm, you have to look at the nutrition. So in the nutrition phase, this is where you're going to find that your animals have to feed on the diets, on the balanced diet. For you to have triplets or for you to have triplets in goats, and then also have twins, it means you have to feed your animals on a balanced diet. You have to grow, or if you're on a small area, it means that now you have to go into feeds grow. You have to grow up the feeds. You have to grow the sugar grass, the super napier, the alfalfa, the lucerne, the queen and the king of the grasses. So you have to supply this to your goats, and you also have to supplement them with the mineral blocks. These mineral blocks are very necessary in goats farming or any animal. When you are doing any farm, mineral blocks are very good because they contain the nutrients the animals may not find in the feeds they feed on. So it's very good and advisable for you to look into mineral blocks supplements to your farms, because now these mineral blocks, they contain all the minerals needed by the body. If I'm to mention but a few mineral blocks, actually for me, what I have observed in it, First of all, they make my goats go on heat very fast. Secondly, actually, after a goat has for example, there's a goat that gave birth around Jan, it's already pregnant because I have supplied them with the mineral blocks. So all the time they keep licking the mineral blocks, and it stimulates up the body of the goat. So you find that the goat runs on heat very fast. Secondly, it also like breastfeeds its kids up to like 3 months. So you find that when you have a mineral block in your farm, and then also you your kids will have enough production, like enough milk from the mothers, since the mothers, they're eating a balanced diet, and the minerals are generating more milk in the body. They're providing the vitamins necessary. So you find that your kids will grow at a higher pace. And also another one, you have to look in providing water. You have to give your animals water. How will they make milk if they are not drinking? This is where you're now going to start having stunted growth. So many the kids do not want, the goats do not want to what? To breastfeed their kids. Give them water, give them balanced diet, give them the nutrients, the queen and the king of the grasses. This is the lucerne, commonly known as the super napier, commonly known as the alfalfa. It's very good in the production of milk, and it has the protein content, it has a high rate of protein content. So you need to give it to your goats to see a big change in your goats. Yes, so those are the 3 pillars of running a successful goats farm. If you know the genetics, and you know how to control inbreeding, if you know the genetics, and also consider the management, you also consider the nutrition, you're good to go. You're good to go in business, in goats farming. Those are the 3 pillars of goats farming. Actually, every successful farm you see, it has its own pillars. So every successful farm has to have 3 pillars: the management, the breeding, or the breeds or the genetics, and the nutrition. If you have the 3 things, you're good to go. Thank you for watching.